Yo, apprentices and acolytes and fellow lords, Sith lords, dark lords of the Sith, coming into the Dark Temple, visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and Kyle Katarn, and so many others, so many other Force sensitives, so many others. It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for coming in to the stream, baby. I am Lord Dagovere, fam. And it's good to see you, baby. Let's go. We got Anthony, Jeff, Leon, Skywalker Academy, SJ, David Torres, my boy, and of course, all the apprentices and acolytes inside the Dark Temple Discord. Luke is not a Sith Lord? Of course not. Of course not. He's not. But the Dark Temple was visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and Kyle Katarn, and so many of the Force sensitives like yourself. So let's go. Jeff says, Luke is not a Sith Lord. Does this guy even know what he's talking about? What is this guy doing? How you guys doing today? I got my for light in life. We are the Republic. High Republic in here. It's so funny. It's so funny how I have like the Revan and the Nyla shirt and the High Republic. I mean, it depends on what day of the stream you pop in. I'm either a shill or a grifter. So it's really funny. Honestly, it's hilarious. Choose your character. Yes. So guys, we have a lot to talk about today. We have so much to talk about. I know Leon's got some words. I know SJ's got some words. Let's go, SJ. Let's go, Skywalker Academy. We will talk about the Mando and Grogu Super Bowl commercial, okay? By the way, I actually really enjoyed the Super Bowl. I enjoyed the Super Bowl halftime show. I am, if you guys didn't know, I'm Puerto Rican and Cuban. So, I know I don't look like it, but I am definitely Latino. So, yeah, didn't watch it or the Super Bowl. I'm very not surprised, Logan. Yo, my boy, Will the Force and Logan, please chat. Everybody welcome Logan and Will the Force with a ready up. Let's go. Mando TV spot was a banger. Need 10 more. What's interesting is I didn't hate the idea of the spoof. What I think I dislike the most is just that's all we got, and I want more. I always want more, But I will get into the nitty gritty of it throughout the stream. You guys know me. I play devil's advocate. I see both sides, without being an asshole that likes to attack people personally. So we'll get to that in a second, dude. Ready up. Logan says, what? What? By the way, Logan, I'm playing Helldivers, bro, because I want to beat those clanker bitch asses so bad, bro. Cyberstan will, it's gonna fall. I was playing literally before we started the stream, bro. Man, you guys. I didn't hate the idea. CGI took me off. I don't know why. I don't know. We'll get into it. I used to live on the Naval Basin. Really? What the hell, Jeff? That's crazy, bro. Yeah. Florida boy through and through. My father's Puerto Rican and Cubans. I have a lot of Spanish family. A lot of Spanish. I wasn't really taught Spanish. I've had to pick up a lot of it because I worked in South Florida, and it's basically the main language there, everywhere, honestly. So, yeah. But even with how much Spanish you'll know, you're never going to understand what Bad Bunny is talking about. It was funny, but I wanted to see more of the story, dude. Yeah. I'm really excited. But there's some good stuff I want to talk about. I also got something very interesting that we are going to talk about today, too. Very interesting stuff, guys. Very interesting. When all the knowledge is coming in to your boy. So, pretty good stuff. There's some good stuff in here, and then there's some not good stuff in here. I would honestly say, I would say that the Acolyte the Acolyte show is probably, or the Acolyte book is probably a reflection of the Acolyte show. Like there's some good stuff in here, and then there's some not good stuff in here. But the good thing about these books, these art books, is they really get to tell you a lot about the pitches, what happens, and I will say that I'm pretty certain that a lot of this stuff that I see was probably derailed because of COVID. It doesn't really admit that, but there's a couple lines in here that I think say a lot about the production and the writer's room and what happened and stuff like that. But I tell you one stuff, man, there's some good art in here, guys, that did not make it. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit as well, you know. Oh boy, the Acolyte. The cover is sick. Yes, I like it. I like buying the art books, man. You know, plus I like Khmer, dude. So I gotta support what I need to support, dude. You know, I know that people really dislike a lot of these projects, but it's not all bad. You know, it's not all bad. Is it great? No. Is it good? I'd argue probably not, because that's why it's canceled. But I think that there's something to take pieces of in each project, even the ones that I don't like. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit today. Leon says, our conversation last week really moved me. I'm going to keep that faith for this movie. I'm so glad you said that, Leon, because honestly, I wanted to talk to you guys in general. And we're going to talk about the Mando and Grogu stuff quite a bit today. And I will say, honestly, like legitimately, guys, if this movie is not exciting you right now, it's probably not going to excite you at all. Reason for that, I've just honestly kind of looked at how this movie is being treated, and I still feel like it's being mistreated in some way. There are whispers about this 3-month rule with any project in any movie, and I personally feel like when you don't see marketing at all for a project, I don't think it's a good sign. I'm not saying the movie is bad. I am not saying the movie is bad. That's what I'm not saying that, okay? All I'm saying is that perhaps Disney's playing favorites. Maybe they're playing favorites with Marvel. Maybe they're playing favorites with Ahsoka. You know, maybe they're just trying to get this stuff out because it's Mando and Grogu and they know what it is. Whatever it is. I don't know what it is. I haven't seen the movie yet. You know, but I will say that I think that even with all these things going on, I just can't not be excited because Jon Favreau's directing this movie. I really do not see this movie being bad. You know, is this movie going to be Revenge of the Sith or Solo or Empire Strikes Back? No, I don't think so. Not in the slightest. I do think this movie is going to be Skeleton Crew, and maybe Mandalorian season 3-ish. You know, but I liked Mandalorian season 3, so that's good for me. But it's definitely not good for 90% of the Star Wars fans out there. So I understand why everyone's getting a little irritated with the way this stuff is being presented. But we'll get more on that in a second. So I was watching on Reddit, guys, and I wanted you guys to see this because I think it's so interesting. And so Mark Hamill is on this call. I don't know if you guys remember. You guys might have been too young back in these days, but they used to have these channels where they were selling stuff. And one of the things that he's looking at, crazy enough, is my boy Logan, the Dark Empire series cards. And I think it's so freaking cool that when you hear Mark Hamill talk about these art pieces and stuff, he's actually really impressed. And I love the Dark Empire series. Okay, I think the Dark Empire series is actually really good. And it's funny because Palpatine returns, Darth Sidious returns. And it's actually really crazy and how wacky and crazy it gets with how powerful Sidious is, how powerful Luke is. I actually really enjoyed it. And if you haven't read The Dark Empire, go check it out, man. It's pretty cool. But if you guys want to check it out, I put the link inside the Discord for the Dark Temple. And go check it out because it's not common that we get to see someone like Mark Hamill and in the verse talk about expanded universe stuff, especially to this degree. So I thought it was really cool to see the actor for Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill, talk about the expanded universe and how crazy it can get. This doesn't really happen here, So I think it's really cool. But I wanted to show you guys. Really sick because Reddit is terrifying and awesome, but sometimes you can find some really good stuff. And I thought this was pretty freaking amazing. So I just wanted to show you guys, man. Dude. Yeah. Jeff Anura says, I don't understand why people say that Mandalorian Season 3 is bad. I think that people say that Mandalorian Season 3 is bad, Jeff, because it wasn't a continuation of Din Djarin's story. I think another reason why people say that The Mandalorian Season 3 is bad is because the Book of Boba Fett somewhat derails Mando's and Grogu's story, specifically the choice that Grogu makes at the end there, where he ends up going with Luke Skywalker. I think a lot of movie-only fans ended up seeing Season 3 and were like, whoa, what the hell? I didn't know Grogu was back. A lot of people didn't watch Book of Boba Fett, from what I understood. Not that I thought that Book of Boba Fett was bad. It's just if you do not watch the Book of Boba Fett, you're not really going to understand what happened between the Mandalorian, Luke Skywalker, and Grogu. And I think ultimately, when you see the trajectory of that arc, that story arc, I think it does devalue a lot of what happens in Season 2 with Luke Skywalker, and then all of a sudden Grogu's back, you know? So I understand the criticism for that. What I don't understand is Bo-Katan's story. I thought Bo-Katan's story was actually pretty freaking solid. I actually liked a lot of the action and the story for The Mandalorian Season 3. I just think people wanted to see Din, and although her story, Bo-Katan's story and The Mandalorian story was really cool, I think they would have wanted a whole other series for that, or like, you know, Mandalorian 2.5 story. So I get the criticisms, but yes, I think that Mandalorian Season 3 was good, but when you stack it up to Season 2 and Season 1, it's clearly the weaker of the three seasons. That's how I feel, you know? Yeah, they should have saved that for Mandalorian Season 3. I personally feel like they should have saved that for a movie, honestly. That's what I would have made Mando and Grogu about, is I would have made Mando and Grogu a movie, you know, but I'm just a guy talking on the internet, so. Neither do I, Jeff, and I disagree with Lord Dagovere. What did I do? Aki, oh my god, it's been so long, dude. How are you? I hope you've been well. Thank you so much. Everybody welcome Aki with a ready up inside the chat. What did I do, Anthony? I understand the time frame marketing really starts to get going for most movies, but to keep us completely in the dark until the time, to this time is kind of sad. Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%, Leon. I think also when you look at the Mandalorian and Grogu stuff and how many people are criticizing it, like it's just, you know, there's a lot of people out there that say like, well, you know, the advertisement did what it's supposed to. And I disagree. Like, I disagree. Yes, you're talking about it, but like bad press is bad press at the end of the day, man. And what does this community do? I mean, shit, what does the entire entertainment industry do? Especially people like me. You talk shit about stuff, you know? Why was that the trailer? What is this? Was that CGI or AI? Oh my God, what the hell? I don't even know what the movie's about, you know? That's what people are going to do, man. You know, and I think that's the problem, is I think there is a level of disconnect, or in my opinion, worse, maybe the people that are, maybe Disney doesn't believe in the movie, you know? And I think that is what's terrifying here, is because you really only push stuff that you have faith in, that you want to spend money in. Maybe they're already seeing it as a loss. Like, I don't know. I'm just thinking, guys. I'm just thinking. Because if I'm the person in charge at Disney who's trying to make sure that this is the first movie since 2019, why am I not telling everybody about it? Why am I not marketing it? I would be marketing the shit out of Grogu. I would be marketing him so much. I wouldn't, like, I think the Super Bowl commercial, we might as well talk about this now. I think the Super Bowl commercial does one good job, and it makes an entire new scene that's probably not in the movie at all. And it does that with Mando and Grogu. Like, I actually love that. I love that because it reminds me of the 1990s, 1999 commercials that we had for The Phantom Menace. And I posted a post the other day, or I published a post yesterday, and that was about, like, it was KFC, Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell all having a collaborative announcement about their little game that they were doing to promote The Phantom Menace. You know, and it's got the Chihuahua dog, you know, it's got the Colonel, and it's got a Pizza Hut waitress, you know, who has a blaster and is saving everybody with the Colonel, who's using a lightsaber. You know, like, that stuff is fun and silly. And then the droid army shows up, and then the and then the Chihuahua looks at the Colonel and he's like, "You're a real Colonel, right?" you know, and I thought that was hilarious. I'll never forget that, and I felt like that was the type of vibes that Mandalorian and Grogu Super Bowl trailer was giving us. But that's it. Then there's nothing else, you know. And it's not just the Mando and Grogu trailer, guys. It's like all the movies. There was only one movie trailer, and I think that was the Scream trailer, and that was in the first commercial break for the Super Bowl. Outside of that, like the Minions got canned, you know, like everything was just the Super Mario stuff also was just like a couple stuff. Like it wasn't really a lot of like movie trailers like it used to be. Like I remember back in the day, like you would get video game trailers like Dante's Peak and Halo. That was like, that's it. You know, everybody's getting ready for this release now. So I just don't know, man. It's just a different era of marketing, guys. It's a different era of thinking, and a lot of this stuff is profit. I don't know, man. I don't know. Jedi Connor, thank you so much for coming in, everybody. Welcome, Jedi Connor, with a ready up. A good evening. The most surprising thing about that ad is there was no AI. I mean, I think there was a lot of people that thought it was AI because they just don't know how good stuff can look these days. I thought the Tauntauns looked amazing, by the way. Yeah, you're right. They probably don't have faith in it. I just think that... Listen, guys, I think it's no secret that Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger are leaving this year. Like, I keep telling you guys, you know, and I know I don't have 100 million subscribers, but I genuinely believe that this is a soft reset or a rebuild for a lot of these franchises that Disney owns. You know, they're kind of really rethinking how to make money. And that's the biggest problem is they're thinking about how to profit while also market these projects and these movies and stuff. This movie has to be good. And then Ahsoka has to be good. And then Maul Shadowlord will probably be a banger, of course, but it's animation, it's not live action, so not everybody's going to watch it like they would Mando and Grogu or Ahsoka Season 2, you know? We also have The Ninth Jedi coming out this year, guys. People are forgetting about that. We also have 2 video games coming out this year. You know, it's a very important year for Star Wars, and I think it's also a very important year for Marvel. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. And if you believe in laws of reality, what can go wrong will go wrong. But I have faith no matter what. You know, I love this IP. I love this franchise. And I genuinely believe that Mando and Grogu is going to be solid. But how many people are going to watch it when you're just giving us one single trailer and Mando and Grogu riding Tauntauns? You know? But my first thought was, is that AI? Something felt off. No, it was just to look. Trust me, guys. I guarantee you it's just that there's so much direction and a lot of people just don't know how good props can look these days because AI is kind of really like distorting people's vision on what it is. I've been here since the beginning. I've heard no shit talking here, just opinions. Oh, thank you, Anthony. I really appreciate that, dude. Yeah, I mean, but I feel like there's times where I do dip in the dark side, but yeah. Skywalker Academy says, that's my theory with the lack of marketing, that the Mandalorian and Grogu, a lack of faith in the project. I really hope it's not true. That's how you know the movie's huge. Rival companies coming together to promote it. Yes, exactly. You know, but also I think that's also a bad comparison though for me to say that too, because that was the first Star Wars movies in like 20 plus years. You know, so 20 years. That's different. You know, we're still. It's the first movie in a very long time in this multimedia age where everything is like being recycled. So it's still a long time. And all I'm saying is that if this was the first movie that I'm returning to, this big giant franchise that's literally the most influential cinema trilogy in all of entertainment, you know, maybe I would promote it more. That's all I'm saying. Project Hail Mary trailer. But see, that's the thing though too, guys, is I will say, like, if the Mandalorian and Grogu movie has not excited you or enticed you yet, I don't think it's going to. And that's not your fault. Because even someone like me who has way more faith in the IP than a lot of people these days, and I'm considered to be like down to earth, which is why we have the legends and new canon people in here. You know, they don't think I'm a grifter. They don't think I'm a shill. They just think I'm a guy that likes both continuity and is going to tell you the truth. You know, I genuinely believe that although we've had high highs, we've had low lows, and it's very hard for people to consider that this new movie coming out is going to be a banger. Because here's the thing. There are people out there since The Force Awakens, that's 2015, that legitimately believe everything that they've been fed is not good. You know? And a lot of people will say, well, you know, they missed out on Solo, they missed out on Rogue One, they missed out on Andor. You know, what if there's people out there that didn't like that either? You know? And that's that's what I'm seeing in my head, is that if you are not promoting this movie, then how are you going to make the blind see, right? And I don't think you can, because a lot of those people's minds are made up. You know, you could have Luke Skywalker here tell them that this shit's going to be amazing, you know, but it's not going to happen, you know. It is what it is. Minion simply said, okay, it's too expensive. Go watch the trailer for yourself on YouTube. And I think that was big brain. I know I really would have liked Star Wars to do that too. Like there was a commercial, I think it was online. I think it was Monday, where they said, "Hey, 2027, the Super Bowl, Disney is going to have way more presence, right?" And then it showed the Razor Crest, you know, like flying by, and I was like, "Wow, where the hell was that for this year?" You know, who knows? There's probably going to be so much more. We have Starfighter, and I think Starfighter is going to be amazing. I genuinely believe Starfighter is going to be a 10 out of 10. You know. But we'll see. Wish there was a promo like the Phantom Menace days. Yes, but you know why there isn't, Anthony, and it's probably just because that the companies are so stupid these days with copyright and shit that they literally take the fun out of things. It would be so hard to get all of these companies to literally come together, because Sony and Disney can't even frickin' get their shit together when a Spider-Man movie comes out. So how are they going to promote a movie together? You know? Which is why you're never going to see Miles Morales in a goddamn Spider-Man movie, you know? Yeah, it's just an example. I just genuinely think that there's so much gluttonous, there's so much greed, and these people they just want profit for themselves. They don't give a shit about any other company. They don't want to have fun. I genuinely believe that they're not fans of the IP, and that's also a problem for people like Swagman. If you guys don't know who Swagman is like the marketing community management team for Lucasfilm and Star Wars. They're the ones giving, like, you know, looking at people and people's profiles and, you know, bringing them into new projects and giving them gifts, sending them stuff. You know, I never get stuff because I'm probably just an asshole to them, but I think they have the hardest job because they're not directors, they're not writers, they're not the executives at Disney. And their job is literally to take all of the shit like a sponge that the entire fandom is talking shit about, adding them on Twitter all the time, on TikTok, on Instagram and everything, on YouTube. And they're the ones that have to absorb it all and then find the few accounts that genuinely like things. And then when you reward those people, right, for being like fans, and then all of a sudden those people turn cloak because they're not hyped about the Acolyte or Mando and Grogu or Andor or something, you know, it's like so much harder to find these people who to ally yourselves with, because eventually everyone becomes an enemy because they love you one day and then they hate you and then they love you again and then they hate you again. And then there's also things like, you know, like taking John Boyega off the Force Awakens poster in China. You know, that's not a them decision. That's a Disney decision, right? You know, and so they have to facilitate through all this stuff and just kind of take the damage, you know. And I think that's one of the hardest jobs too. And so with people like us that are genuinely like excited for the franchise, it's got to suck to have their job. It's got to suck to have their job, bro. I'm so sorry, dude. I genuinely, like, I good luck to them. I think they're some of the strongest warriors, dude. I'll watch them, says Jeff. Hell yeah. Skywalker Caddy says, not expecting it to be a masterpiece. I'm just expecting a fun popcorn adventure for the family, which I'm okay with, and I'm still excited for it. Yeah, same. I'm you guys know me. You know my spiel. I'm always going to be excited. I'm shocked that Marvel, DC, or Star Wars didn't go hard with their trailers at Super Bowl. What the hell happened this year? Leon, it's because it's expensive, dude. You know? A movie ticket is like $20 these days. I think it's like $15 for an adult. If you're not going to a matinee, it's like ridiculous. A popcorn box is like $20, maybe $30 now. And then some of the movie theaters, they don't even allow you to buy the popcorn box alone. You have to buy a popcorn box and a themed cup with it now. I mean, most of the movie theaters where I am are like that, you know? So imagine how much a Super Bowl commercial slot is. It's got to be millions of dollars, and that's not even how much you've paid to create a commercial for it. It's stupid, dude. It's like I obviously, like, we're all gamers, right? In this chat, right, guys? We're all gamers. We like to we like to play shit. We like to buy shit. But there's so many, like, you guys already know how expensive it is, but I genuinely believe we do not understand how expensive it actually is, you know? And I believe that's one of the reasons why a lot of this stuff is happening. David Torres says, I love Rogue One, and Solo was okay. I love both of them, man. I loved Rogue One so much, I saw that shit when I was homeless. That movie was so damn good, you know? I love that movie. I also think Solo is very good. And that movie, I mean, both Rogue One and Solo had, like, hella reshoots. You know, 30-second for $8 million. Yeah, probably. That's like average, you know? Yeah, I'm glad you guys are so educated. You guys are so smart. Jedi Connor says it's too late a stage for capitalized to execute. Yeah, it's too late a stage capitalized to execute promotion like that. Yes, I agree. I agree 100%, dude. I heard that a 30-minute Super Bowl commercial cost $8 million. 30-second? Maybe not 30-minute. I just feel like it's all expensive. It's like super fucking crazy, you know? Yeah, man, it's really annoying. But I think that's just the way the franchise is, guys. You know, I don't think any of that stuff is going to change. And speaking of which, we got another thing that we're going to talk about here today, and it is Disney's new CEO, Josh D'Amaro, says movie premieres may happen in Fortnite. Movie premieres may happen in Fortnite. I think this is a good idea, guys. I'm actually okay with this. Reason being is because one of the most important things to gripping any new fans is finding the future generation of fans. Fortnite is amazing exposure. One of the smartest things Star Wars did was during the release of Tales of the Underworld, what did they do? They put the first 2 episodes or the first episode in Fortnite. Bro, that shit is amazing. I don't understand why they don't continuously do that. Every single May, there should be something like that. Shoot, every single time there's a Star Wars something, since you have all the skins, you have all the assets, just put it in there. You know, you already have this whole world that you're building with Disney and Star Wars in Fortnite that's going to release later this year. I genuinely believe that this is the way how you slowly convince other people to watch the IP. They're in the game. Like, I know people hate AI, but the Vader AI thing, outside of how stupidly executed it was genuinely a good idea. Why? Because you have Darth Vader going around and helping you win the game. You know, that's awesome. How many people can say that they won a game with Darth Vader? Now, if you do that and have characters that are being released in this show, or whether it's a TV series or Ahsoka Season 2, there should be a lobby, just like Asajj Ventress, just like Tales of the Underworld. Dude, that stuff was so cool, man. You could literally pick any skin that you wanted if you've never bought it. And if you didn't, you could just pick a Stormtrooper, go in there, and literally watch the stuff. It's got all the weapons in the game. They got all the blasters. They got lightsabers. Dude, it's literally a theme park in the game. One of the best experiences, too, that I've had is the Star Wars season where we helped blow up the Death Star and we helped destroy Sidious again. And then also for the Rise of Skywalker, there was a whole event where Star Destroyers came in and, you know, you got to see like J.J. Abrams and the Millennium Falcon. It's one of the coolest things that they've done. I literally feel like they need to keep doing it. I think it's smart as hell. And I would be shooting for every single series that comes out is going to have the first episode on Fortnite. Watch parties are so important. They did that with Dragon Ball Z, you know? I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea, guys. You know? Like, I genuinely believe this is slowly the way how you get people excited. We just don't have the same type of marketing these days. And I think that's the way you have to start talking to this generation, you know? That's how I feel. SJ says, I was about to make a Fortnite Star Wars promo joke, and now this. Anthony says, it said by Josh Damore is that he's a chance taker. There's a quote that he said this. Oh, really? Interesting. Well, I hope he takes a bunch of chances. Maybe he'll listen to this stream. Skywalker Academy says, okay, smart from a business decision, not something I personally like, but still a great way to bring more into the franchise. Yes, and I think that's the way you do it, you know. I genuinely believe that's the way you do it. I think another way would be really cool is like, yeah, man, I think there's so much stuff, you know. I don't know, man. But I literally have so many ideas how to do these things, but the problem is ideas require money, you know, to be executed. So, yeah, man. Okay, so before we get into the me yelling about battles, power levels, and stuff, let's talk about some stuff. I want to show you guys some stuff in this art book, okay? And I know that we talk good and we talk bad about the Acolyte, but I want to show you guys. Well, first, what I'll do is I will read you guys one of the most important parts, okay? Because a lot of people are going to just look over the things that are negative in this stuff and make money off of it. But I wanted to show you guys a part about production, because I told you guys that I've been on production for quite a few projects, which I'm not allowed to talk about. But I want to tell you how easily a project can get derailed, okay? So this is Leslie Headland's Acolyte, and she's talking about the entire process of production from the pitch that started back in 2019 all the way up to basically the end and how everything was going to be executed. But there was one thing that I was reading that I thought was really important, and I think people are going to look over it. So I wanted to tell you. This is how it is. Within a few months, the COVID-19 pandemic declared on March 11th, 2020, shuttered the traditional writer's room and slowed the pace of development for more than a year. It wasn't until vaccines became widely available and that the Walt Disney Studios reopened offices in July of 2021 that Headland met with Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy once more to kickstart a new era of development on the series. You want me to read it again? Within a few months, the COVID-19 pandemic declared on March 11th, 2020, shuttered the traditional writer's room, and slowed the pace of development for more than a year. It wasn't until vaccines became widely available and that Walt Disney Studios reopened offices in July of 2021 that Headland met with Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy once more to kickstart a new era of development for the series. I don't know if you guys remember, because all the streams that we've done, and you know, I have Unlocked the Knowledge, which literally goes back to like 2019 of podcasts that I did, and there's a lot of stuff that I talk about, which a lot of people probably won't listen to, but one of the things I talked about before the show even came out, and I was talking about pre-COVID and post-COVID, I think COVID did irreversible damage to a lot of projects. Kenobi, The Mandalorian, and yes, The Acolyte. And I'd even argue Mandalorian and Grogu. So that part where she literally specifies about the writer's room, the traditional experience for the writer's room, and how the entire pitch was put on hold, which was over a year, by the way. Over a year. March 11th to July 21st of the next year. That's over a year. And then she says, starting a new development. Yes, thank you, Anthony. Which you were also on. There's so much in this book that I think is really good. And listen, I'm not making excuses, okay, for the show, okay? But I'm telling you guys from my own experience, okay? From my own experience, how easily this shit can be ruined because somebody wants more credit, because somebody isn't around, because somebody doesn't like the pitch, because somebody doesn't want a character in that pitch. There's a lot of things in here that I think shackled the Acolyte. One of them that they talk about in this book is how Leslie had been talking about this pitch since like 2018. And finally was developing it in her own way in 2019. But you know what also came out in 2019? The High Republic. And she already wanted a story that was like 100 years Phantom Menace. 100 years before Phantom Menace, pre-Phantom Menace. And I think that also somewhat pushed her into a position that she didn't, not that she didn't want to be in, but that's the story had to adapt into that. And you know what's really crazy too? The Acolyte story that we got is not the Acolyte story that she actually was going to tell. Pitches end up evolving over time, just like I said. You know, yo, Crystal, thank you so much. It's so good to see you. Yo, everybody welcome Crystal with Already Up. Crystal is awesome, does a whole bunch of makeup stuff, has a lot of good takes on Twitter and YouTube. Please go check them out, y'all. Give them a warm welcome. Let's freaking go. Yeah, you actually made it. Right? The VOD did not start yet. It hasn't ended yet. But we're talking about Acolyte and Mando and Grogu stuff. So please, I hope you deal with my energy well. But guys, like, Leslie Headland is pitching the Acolyte. And she talks about how she wanted it to be just 100 years for the Phantom Menace, pre-Phantom Menace era. And then the High Republic. Project Starlight, right? I think it was. Or I can't remember. Was it Starlight? I can't remember. And that ends up launching. And so it looks like she was pushed into an era of a story that she wasn't necessarily thinking about. So she had to evolve the pitch. And her first pitch is actually, in my opinion, a better idea. And it was, I think it was Osha. Osha was separated from her sister, and her sister was being enslaved by a Sith Lord. And Osha was supposed to find and track down her sister and this Sith Lord throughout the galaxy. I personally feel like that's a better pitch. Starlight Beacon, my Shayla. Yeah, it's gone. Yeah, it drowned. It's bodied. It's gone. I personally feel like that's a better pitch. I really like that pitch. But that's what happens too, guys, because just like I just got done reading, production stopped because of COVID, and they basically had to redo the pitch probably. They had to do certain things. And you can also see in this book where the styles of art completely change, which I think is really interesting. I think that you guys should go out and get this book. I think it's very educational. I think it's also very interesting because how you can see where my experience comes from with production, where how stories change very quickly because of money, because of a writer leaves, a director leaves, a producer leaves, someone in the higher ups doesn't like what they're doing, money gets taken away, and it's really sad and tragic. And I genuinely believe that what I just told you guys did not help the execution of The Acolyte in any way, shape, or form. Really sad, really bad. David Torres says, I'm really thinking we're going to get Smiler and spinoff. What do you think? I don't know, bro. My hopes is that we're going to get that, which is why I bought the Acolyte book. I'm sure that we'll get something in some way. Do I think we're going to get Acolyte Season 2? I don't think so. They canceled it, bro. I think that's worse than any flub that's happened so far. That pitch sounds very interesting, says Skywalker Academy. It says going to put that book on. Yes, I would. Definitely, The other thing I wanted to show you guys was, in my opinion, remember how we were talking about, they got pushed into the High Republic era, which is fine. I think the High Republic is good. I got my Light and Life stuff here, okay? But I'm also an Old Republic fanboy. I genuinely like all eras of Star Wars. And I want to show you guys some of the art here, which I believe was made before they were put into this High Republic era, okay? And some of this art, guys, you're going to be so mad when I show you. You're going to be so mad because I think this shit looks so good, okay? I'm just looking for some of the Jedi Masters and how they look. Oh my God, there's even concept art in here about how the Jedi Temple looks 100 years before the prequels. Oh my God, and it looks so cool, dude. They really nailed a lot of stuff in concept. And then in execution, not so much. But I think we know how that turns out because of what happens. All right, so first thing, here's one of them that I'm going to show you guys. Look at this, guys. Look at the way these Jedi look. These Jedi look so freaking cool, bro. This is what I wanted. It looks it looks like an extension of the Old Republic, which Leslie Headland is a huge fan of, by the way. So I'm gonna show you more. I'm gonna show you more. Okay, this is just gonna be our little secret. All right. Oh, okay. All right. Here we go. Here's the next thing. I was telling you about the Jedi Temple and how it looked. Look, it's got a hole. Look at this. Look at this shit, dude. I would have loved to see this. What happened? I genuinely believe, guys, COVID derailed the momentum of this project so much, man. Because, there was also a different Disney CEO that was happening at that time, too. And I wonder if funds got taken away because of COVID, too. And that's why she was talking about the traditional writer's room experience. So that one, Anthony, is Callum Alexander Watt. That is the artist. Okay, I'm going to, yeah. All right, so I'm going to find more, dude. Yeah, that Jedi Temple is so magical, dude. I love it so much. Oh, God, guys, this is my favorite shit of this whole book right now, outside of the Smiler and stuff, okay? Yes, that is the temple on Coruscant, bro. It is so beautiful. I'm telling you right now, guys. Guys, you can hear me first, all right? I genuinely believe this show ended up the way it did because of COVID. Okay. All right. Here we go. Oh, God, you guys are gonna get so mad, dude. You guys are gonna get so mad. Remember how we were talking about aliens? Remember how we were talking about Jedi? Oh my God! All right. Look at this shit, dude. Look how this looks like video game concept art that you're getting ready to pick your class. Look at this. Look how cool they look, dude. Look at that. Look at that, dude. He's got floating kyber crystals. That's the same artist, by the way. Callum Alexander Watt. You know. Well, I will say concept art for any and all Star Wars. I actually no, I do not think most. I think that there are some good because, there's some stuff that is not good in here. That there genuinely is, and I'm looking at pages right now, and I don't want to show you. I genuinely don't want to show you guys because I don't want people to clip stuff and be super negative about it. But there is not good stuff in here too. Some of it is about like the concept art of like how you saw. Look, that is how the Jedi, I'm assuming, we're supposed to look. And then we got what we got, which was in there, which is not bad. I like the way they look, but that design, those designs are far superior. Like that may have been the best the Jedi have ever looked outside of like the Old Republic and New Jedi Order. You know, like that. Oh man. If they sign me up again to do a pitch or something, you know, like I'm hiring that artist as a concept artist, and I'm taking that look. You know, like that is the era, that is the look that I'm doing because I love the Old Republic. Like the way Satele looks, Satele Shan is probably one of the best like aesthetic looking Jedi. You know, the Old Republic, everybody's got drip. You know. High Republic too. They got some drip, you know. But I think the drippiest by far is like post Return of the Jedi, you know. And the way that looks, in my opinion, someone was definitely directing things differently, you know. Okay, I'm gonna show you again. Can I show you one more? Yo, one in the chat if I can show you one more, guys. Sorry, guys. I like art, dude. I like art, you know. You know, I'm not Crystal over here that's got freaking Tengu and Oni Babas in the goddamn house, you know. But yeah, you got to look good at Star Wars. All right, here we go. All right, so here we go. Concept art, yeah. I mean, I understand. I think that there's certain ways that Star Wars looks, you know, or has to feel is a better way, right? All right, here we go. So look at this one, man. Look at this one, dude. The two. It's the same. It's the same artist, man. Like they absolutely killed it, dude. They absolutely killed it, dude. Oh, you like the poster? Thank you so much, Derby. Like it just feels so right, man. Feels so right, dude. Yeah, it's sad, you know. I hate seeing the best, the potentially best in everything. You know, because I think that's what stings the most is like I know how good it can be, but that's not always how potential is not always fulfilled, boys and girls. You know. Can we see some Smile around? You guys want to see it? Okay, cool. So I'll do that. That'll be the last part that I show you because I don't want Kristen Baver to get really upset at me about showing stuff on stream for freeze. Got Mother NSA in here and the Coven. I think a lot of their concept art isn't as powerful as the other ones. I think whoever did the landscapes and the architecture, I think absolutely nailed it. Like, I would want them on other Star Wars projects. And then, of course, the previous stuff that I was showing you guys with the Jedi, I thought was really good. All right, so here, I'll do you one more. Here, I'll do you some good shit here, guys. All right? What do we got? Who's that guy? Who's that guy right there? The Damask Files. Right there, baby. That's our boy Darth Plagueis. Let's go. Let's go. I think the concept artist nailed it, dude. It looks so tough, bro. It looks tough as shit, bro. I don't know how you can look at that and say it's not good. I don't understand. I don't know how you can look at that and say, nah, we're not going to write a story about it. It's too much money. That's insane to me, bro. That's insane to me, man. Boy. All right. So, you guys wanted to see some Smilo Ren? I'll give you some Smilo Ren. All right, here we go. So, here's the other ones, all right? Alrighty. So, there's some good stuff in here, and I really like the direction that they went, okay? There's some other stuff in here that's it's more horror than it is Star Wars. But one of the very interesting things that they talk about here is, I think it was Leslie Headland's sister who was helping on the project, and she did research on smiles and how, you know, this smile is nice and this smile is nervous. But then you have smiles that are intimidating and off-putting and terrifying, you know, and it just made sense. It's good. It's good. You know, damn. Yeah, I don't know, man. I messed up my mic here, but I got two-sided. Unpopular question says, has the quality of ILMs and Lucasfilm visual effects declined in recent years, or is it just a budget thing? No, because they still have the same heavy hitters, but they are, I would say that they're working on way more projects than they ever had. So you have to hire people, you know. And sometimes, you know, these people aren't people that have been working at Lucasfilm for like 30 years, 20 years. But clearly, like, for instance, like, there's people in this book, and I have several art books, guys. There's people in these books that I've never heard of before, like that Watts guy, and he nailed the aesthetic. And he nailed the energy, or they nailed the energy, they nailed the aura, they nailed the mystique of Star Wars. And there's other people in this book that I genuinely would say that they're not cut out for Star Wars. That is just my opinion. That is just my view. I have a very, very specific view of what it needs to look and feel like. But I have already shown you that there is quality in this shit. You know? God damn it. Sorry, I just wish. I wish. Anyway, guys, I wanted to introduce you to my son. This is my son, BB9. He's pretty cool. He's good. He's a good boy. Does everybody say hello, BB9? Yeah, he's good. He's chill. He likes to talk. Yeah, he's cool. He's cool as shit. He's my son. He has a lot of energy like I do. What's crazy, guys, is I actually stood outside, waited out in line back in like 2019? No, it was like 2008, 2017, I think, 2018 to get him. And I've had him for like years. And then Star Wars, or not Star Wars, it was Sphero. They ended up no longer supporting the app. And I couldn't use him anymore. But then I just found out this whole modded thing that I could do. And now he's alive again. And he's pretty cool. So, yeah, he's my boy. He's my boy. Yeah, man. Pretty hyped. Let's freaking go. Yeah, guys. Little Joy, so yeah, I love him, dude. I love BB9, dude. He's awesome, man. I love it, dude. It's one of my favorite things. One of my favorite things, man. Okay, I was getting something and I'm looking in the stream and I hear you say my son and then his life and then wait, what? And then I turn to see that. I know, dude, right? I'm so silly, dude. $30 on the store. Sheesh. Let's go. Yeah, man. Okay, so I guess we'll finish up with one little thing here. What time is it? Yes. All right, so it's 8:57. So we'll finish up with one last thing, all right? So I saw a lot of people, in my opinion, choosing incorrectly for one of these polls. And it was, who's more powerful, chat? Who's more powerful, apprentices and acolytes? Is it Exar Kun or Anakin Skywalker? Majority of the poll is saying 73% out of almost 2,000 people is saying Anakin Skywalker is more powerful than Exar Kun. 27% is saying Exar Kun is more powerful than Anakin Skywalker. And I have to be completely honest with you guys, as like one of the biggest Anakin Skywalker glazers, that I genuinely believe that Anakin Skywalker is not beating Exar Kun. And I'm talking about Anakin Skywalker. We're talking about Revenge of the Sith, Anakin Skywalker, okay? In my opinion, Skywalker is all potential. And a lot of that potential, especially Revenge of the Sith, is potential that he never fulfilled. If you know anything about Exar Kun, he is one of the baddest motherfuckers in all of continuity. And this is him without even dying yet. We're just talking about Tales of the Jedi. We're not talking about Jedi and Champions of the Force, Exar Kun, who practically almost kills Luke Skywalker. And this is post Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker, okay? Exar Kun is a bad man. He never lost a lightsaber duel. And this dude was so powerful that not only did he slowly repel the dark side, the idea of the dark side, because he only wanted power. He had darkness in his heart. But Frida Nad had to literally convince this guy at the point of death to channel in the dark side to save himself, which I think was actually that was more willpower than Anakin had. Secondly, once he turns to the dark side, nobody can stop him. He unites with Eula Keldroma, who is one of the most powerful Force-sensitive Jedis at that time, who is also on his side because he's slipping. He goes to Coruscant, literally Coruscant, where Eula Keldroma is being held in the Senate, and there are thousands of people present. Exar Kun goes to that temple and freezes everybody. Thousands of people. He freezes them all in the Force, clutching them, holding them. It's insane. He kills his master, who is one of the greatest masters of that era. And then when he goes to Yavin, he's sacrificing all of the Massassi warriors, okay, and bolsters his energy from that sacrifice. And he is so strong that all of the Jedi in the existence of that era have to unite against him. And then he ends up offing himself. I don't think Anakin is beating that, guys. I don't think Anakin is beating that. No way. You know, we're not talking about world between world Anakin Skywalker. We're not talking about Darth Vader. We're talking about Exar Kun versus Anakin Skywalker. I genuinely believe Anakin Skywalker is losing to Exar Kun. Okay? Sorry, guys. You know, it's crazy. It only takes one. So wait, dude. I think that's hilarious. And it's also true. Genuinely. Exar literally was going all out on his master during training session. Yes, dude. He's awesome, man. Yes. Skywalker, most potential. Kun, most knowledge. Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. You know, obviously, Anakin's potential is much greater. Obviously. But we're not talking about potential. We're talking about these people in this era. You know, like if we're talking about world between world Anakin Skywalker or Darth Vader, Exar Kun is losing to Vader, but Exar Kun that has sacrificed himself, the one that Luke Skywalker fights, I think Vader's having trouble with Exar Kun, you know. But it's amazing because they're two of the greatest freaking characters in existence for Star Wars, man. But I also believe like Exar Kun is like top 3 Sith Lord, so you know that's also probably ultra glaze from me. Outside of that, guys, I think that we are done today. How did you guys feel? How was everything? It was good. It was always good vibes, even though I'm yelling and sweating and being a freaking nerd. Is there a list of all Force users ranked? Man. Do you know how many Force users are in Star Wars? There's so many. There's hundreds. I don't know. I mean, maybe Logan and I could do that. But I don't know. There's so many. That's like a giant tier list. That is a very long project. I could do a lot of the new canon stuff too. Like I just made a book about Bastila Shan versus Avar Chris. And a lot of people didn't like that answer because I was saying that Bastila is ultimately beating Avar Chris. Because I think Bastila is a better duelist. You know, but it's a long list. You know, Jedi Bob and Skippy share are number one. I love Build the Galaxy. I think that's a great show, dude. Can we get a movie about Exar Kun already, dude? I know, man. I love Exar Kun. I have headcanon that he's in Andor, by the way, in the last season. Oh my God, Connor, get out of here with Tamiri, bro. I don't want to hear that ever again. I do not want to hear that. God, dude, Tamiri Broom Boy, man. Jesus, dude. Yeah, so in my headcanon for Andor Season 2, in the last episode where Clea is walking out into the forest because she feels like she's alone, I actually, in my headcanon, believe that because of who Clea is, I think that she's strong in the Force. And I don't think that's a wide perception. Like, I don't think that's a wide thing to believe, right? And I genuinely believe that when she's feeling down and shitty, Exar Kun is calling her. Exar Kun is calling her because he senses her. And until that moment where whatever her face is, I can't remember, grabs Clea and takes her away, then the connection is cut off. You know, I feel like if she goes into the forest, she gets possessed by Exar Kun. You know, that's my headcanon. But I'm just a freaking nerd on the internet. That's my headcanon. You know, I think it's sick as hell, dude. Alrighty, y'all. Helldivers is calling me, man. I am gonna go and play that. Let me know if you guys are up for anything like that. But I really hope you guys enjoyed the stream today. Make sure you follow, of course, on YouTube. Tell your friends. Follow on Instagram. Follow on TikTok. We got so many accounts now. It's actually kind of crazy. A lot of people really like me yelling about power scales. I did not know that was a thing, but hey, here we go. But if you guys are up for some Helldiver stuff, let me know. Also, of course, tell your friends. Every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we have the shorts that come out, and the Tuesday stream at the Dark Temple, guys. It's always so fun. Get on Threads. I'm on Threads. I'm doing some crazy stuff on there, but I just want to say thank you guys for being here and listening to me. And as always, man, you know where we're doing this from. Inside the Dark Temple, visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and Kyle Katarn, and so many of the Force sensitives like yourself. I am Lord Dagovere, and I'll see you around. Deuces.